Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're doing a deep dive into the completely irrational, yet absolutely fascinating business of selling multi-million-dollar hypercars. We're using Bugatti as our ultimate case study to figure out exactly how these automotive masterpieces command such staggering prices, and the psychology behind why people literally line up to buy them. Here's our roadmap for this explainer. First up, the hook. Then, defining hyperluxury, followed by the Bugatti playbook, the hypercar battlefield, and finally, engineering without compromise. Let's get right into it. Section 1, the hook. We're starting off by looking at the insane scale of modern hypercars. To even sit at this table, we have to talk about price. $1.5 million. Now, you might think that's the ceiling, but no, that is the absolute starting baseline just to get into the conversation for a vehicle like the original Bugatti Veyron. It's wild. And you need serious performance to justify a price tag like that. We aren't just talking about going fast. We're talking about machines like the Bugatti Chiron Supersport 300 Plus that shatter barriers we once thought were completely impossible for street-legal production vehicles. To make that happen, take a look at another number, 1,500. That's the massive horsepower generated by Bugatti's roaring 16-cylinder engine. It can literally launch these machines from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 2.3 seconds. Honestly, the engineering required to keep a car from taking flight with that much power is nothing short of miraculous. But here's the absolutely crucial takeaway. Bugatti buyers aren't cross-shopping a standard luxury car. They aren't sitting at home trying to decide between a Mercedes or a Porsche. We're looking at ultra-high net worth individuals who typically already own 20 to 40 supercars. They're just looking for the ultimate crowning collectible for their garage. Moving on to Section 2, defining hyperluxury and how it elevates far beyond standard luxury. So how exactly do you sell a car for over $3 million? Well, researchers Shinya Nagasawa and Takafumi Ito officially defined hyperluxury. And what's fascinating is that it's not just about a price tag being 10 times higher than normal luxury goods. It's fundamentally defined by the brand actively selecting its buyers. The brand holds all the cards here, not the consumer. When you break down the 4 academic requirements from their research, it proves that hyperluxury totally defies standard economic rules, like price elasticity. Instead, these brands generate massive demand through intense scarcity, artistic craftsmanship that deliberately ignores efficiency, and creating incredible investment value. When you buy one of these, its value doesn't plummet the second you drive it away. It often shoots right up in the secondary market. All right, Section 3, the Bugatti playbook. This is all about heritage, exclusivity, and experience. So how does a brand actually execute this theoretical playbook in the real world? Well, tracing Bugatti's timeline, we see they heavily leverage over a century of racing heritage. Being founded way back in 1909 gives the brand this rich, almost mythical aura. And they use that history to justify their prestige today, which really culminated in the modern marvels built under Volkswagen's ownership. The contrast in production volume here is absolutely wild. While standard luxury brands chase efficiency, selling hundreds of thousands of units to pad the bottom line, Bugatti does the exact opposite. Get this, in 2022, which was a record-breaking year for them, they delivered just 80 handcrafted vehicles globally. 80. That severe limitation guarantees this unobtainable, fever-pitch desirability. And because of that crazy scarcity, buying a hypercar isn't about just walking into a dealership with a giant checkbook. It's a highly guarded, make-to-order process. First, you have to submit an application. Then you endure a rigorous security background check. And for the test drive, they literally ship the multi-million-dollar car directly to you, along with a professional racing driver, just to make sure you actually know how to handle it. Now, if simply spending millions isn't exclusive enough for you, Bugatti offers the sur-mesure bespoke program, which transforms each vehicle into an individualized rolling work of art. You want custom hand-painted motifs that tell your family's history? Done. This highly collaborative process can take over a year to complete, which significantly deepens the client's emotional and, of course, financial investment. That brings us to Section 4, the hypercar battlefield, and how Bugatti stocks up against its fiercest rivals. Of course, Bugatti isn't the only one playing at this rarefied altitude. Looking at the 2020 landscape as our benchmark, Bugatti claims the absolute speed crown, hitting an eye-watering 420 kilometers per hour. But look at their rivals. Koenigsegg brings incredible hybrid innovation to the table, and Pagani offers this unparalleled artistic flair. It's an incredibly tight, fierce race for automotive perfection, all fought with multi-million-dollar price tags and razor-thin production volumes. And finally, Section 5, Engineering Without Compromise, focusing on the vision of Ferdinand Piëch. Behind all of these staggering marketing successes stands some truly uncompromising engineering leadership. It's actually fascinating that the impact of Ferdinand Piëch, the legendary executive behind Bugatti's modern revival, is the subject of dedicated academic dissertations. There's literally a paper from the University of Tlemcen that views his work not just as car manufacturing, but as an actual milestone in modern civilization.
Piëch operated under a philosophy of what you might call ruthless refinement. He wasn't just building a car, he was expressing pure human ambition. He functioned as a provocateur, famously refusing to compromise on any design or performance parameters. He demanded that his engineers stretch the absolute physical limits of materials and combustion entirely regardless of the cost.
And speaking of cost, $1.7 billion. That is the amount Volkswagen reportedly spent in R&D to bring the Veyron to life. It was a massive, seemingly illogical financial gamble just to sell a few hundred units. But strategically, it was a necessary flex to establish Bugatti as the undisputed king of the hyper-luxury hill, ultimately pushing systems engineering forward for the entire automotive industry. But as we look to the future, I want to leave you with this final thought. The automotive landscape is rapidly shifting toward electric. Bugatti has now partnered with Rimac, an absolute pioneer in EV technology, to embrace this change. So, the big question is, will the hyper-luxury magic survive with silent batteries, or is the era of the mechanical combustion engine masterpiece coming to an end? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep asking questions, and I'll see you next time.